Okay.
I have gummy bears with me today.
That sounds fantastic. I have candy corn,
Hey.
which
Okay.
is superior to most candies.
What? Who?
Huh? I have candy corn.
What? Huh?
I have candy corn.
I have bad memories about candy corn.
Oh my
I
god,
have
I love
gummy
candy.
bears. And with that, welcome to today's This Week at Bungie for September 10th, 2020. They start
Hey.
out this week. They start out saying, "This week at Bungie, we're consuming stacks of light." Within Destiny 2, the exodus of Io, Titan, Mercury, and Mars continues. Zavala has tasked you with spreading word of impending darkness and keeping our beloved vendors up to speed. There are still a few more loose ends to tie up on these destinations, so get to it. Along your quest, you'll have some final chances to earn unique loot and fill out your collections before access to various strikes is impeded by the darkness. Then they have their little trailer and everything. We can watch it right now, sure. Let's watch that.
So this is how it ends. The day we've been dreading has finally arrived. The darkness is here. I need you on the front lines. Close our ranks, Guardian, and form a fist. It falls to the Guardians to protect our system. All we have left is our faith. Faith in the Traveler, faith in the light, faith in you.
I was muted.
Don't do
The one thing, right? The one thing that I actually really enjoyed about the Traveler's Chosen trailer was the fact that like the three guardians were spawning into the tower as if they were spawning into Leviathan, and like it looked, and the ships were flying by as if like it was the Leviathan as well. So I wonder if that's like maybe part of the end of the season like live event, maybe, because I think that'd be pretty cool.
Or
Now,
we
I
have
do
a
just
raid
want
in
to.
the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That'd be really cool.
Mhm.
I do just want to let you guys know I am a little bit behind this week. I have not finished the Traveler's Chosen. I'm about halfway through.
Okay.
So just for context, so that like as we're talking about it, I don't
Mhm.
care. Obviously, like I mean we talked about spoilers earlier.
Yeah.
These kind of spoilers don't bother me. Um, if we end up talking about that kind of stuff.
We won't.
But I just wanted to put that out there. I'm still behind on that,
Okay.
mostly because my hand sort of
That's
slows
fair.
me down with everything I do.
You're good.
You're alright.
Yeah. We won't be talking much about the Traveler's Chosen. But they say that while the Traveler may have chosen you, it's almost time to go beyond beyond the light. Don't forget where you came from though. As we're celebrating Destiny's almost seventh birthday this week. Yeah, we know it's been 6 years, but 7 is darker. Oh, because your 7 is gonna be Hive Queen, which is a nice touch. And they have this
Also, Bungie is obsessed with the number 7.
True, but they have like this chibi art of all different kinds of guardians. And I think that's really cute. I love the designs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'll post it in our Discord so everybody can see.
Chibi babies.
Yeah, they're real cute. Here, so you guys can see it. That's the Bungie anniversary wallpaper that they posted.
I like the Titan that's just growing a tree in the corner.
Right.
He's like, it's okay. I shall grow.
I love the hunter feeding the birds.
The feeding the birds is great.
I know. It kind of feels like it should be the other way around.
Right.
Hey,
But anyway, yeah.
Listen, hunters can feed birds if they want.
I know.
Yes.
Tell me what to do.
Well,
You're not my boss. You are not my real mom.
All right. If you haven't snagged the sweet wallpapers or seen our stasis deep dives, head on over to our fresh blog article covering the fun. While we're celebrating the past, we were also getting ready for the future. Later on in this stream, me, Mercy, who you got to hear, and Neagle9 will be, and our friend Adam, or aka Nikia Chop, will be talking about the Revenant Hunter, and also briefly bringing up some stuff from the Warlock Shadebinder and Titan Behemoth that could make things really interesting. We'll also talk about how like there might be like some counterplay involved between the different classes, how like what parts are going to be strong, what parts aren't going to be strong. But from what it seems like, the Hunter probably is going to be the strongest. More on that later.
Of course. Okay, I'm just gonna say, knowing Bungie's track record, who's surprised? Because I'm not.
True.
I'm not.
I'm not
they
either.
have a soft spot.
Very
Someone
true.
Talk more about that.
has a
because-
soft spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in the second half. Anyway, they do show another infographic for Stasis. Wield the Darkness. Stasis, a mysterious new power. Stasis is an element born of darkness in its base form. It is an alluring, lethal cosmic energy that, when wielded correctly, can attach itself to surfaces, objects, and beings. Due to its freezing nature, this process manifests itself in the formation of cold crystalline structures that leave a patterned stasis footprint behind. Power takes a new form. Stasis crystals. Stasis in its solid form, a violent and unstable block of crystal. Forms when focused, stasis energy connects with matter and the environment. Freezes nearby enemies when it takes shape, rendering them immobile. Highly unstable. Shatters on impact, creating a stasis explosion of sharp, jagged crystals if left unchecked. Crystals will dissolve over time, which is interesting. We didn't know that. Stasis field. Unfocused stasis energy that forms a sphere of influence teeming with dark elemental power, slowing enemies that enter the field. Stasis energy attaches to the being, eventually encasing them in stasis crystals, rendering them immobile. It's going to be very strong. Slow. Greatly reduces enemy movement speed, weapon handling, and accuracy. And ability energy regeneration. Interesting. Freeze. Freeze and immobilize foes in solid stasis crystals. The effect wears off slowly over time, but if affected players are willing to take some damage in the process, they can break out early by shattering the crystals around them. Interesting.
Yeah. Good.
That adds a little bit. Hey, what's up, Ken?
That changes a couple of things.
That does change a couple things of what we thought, but once again, more on that later. Shatter. Obliterate those who seek to destroy you. With enough direct damage, frozen enemies and stasis crystals will shatter, creating a devastating stasis shrapnel explosion damaging those nearby. Whether you're a veteran of Destiny or just have been rezzed in the Cosmodrome, thank you for playing, and thank you for being a part of our community. So yeah, once again, we'll touch more on Stasis later, but the freeze thing is really interesting, and now I have some more ideas about this and how I think this is actually going to go. Anyway, here they're talking more about the future. Suit up. Hold on. Ken said something. Whether maybe we got in church from?
Sure.
I have not. Suit up. A few TWABs ago, Luke Smith took some time to run through changes to our philosophy in doling out rewards through doling out rewards. I read that really fast. Rewards through the various activities of Destiny 2. Hit the article again if you'd like a refresher on vanity, cosmetics, and more. Today we'll be focusing on core playlist rewards, strikes, gambit, and crucible. To quote the article, here's what you can expect on November 10th. We were adding a new set of armor for the core playlist, Strikes, Gambit, and Crucible. This armor shares a set of new geometry with decals and shaders specific to the activity. We will create new sets like this each year. Example, year 4, year 5, year 6, etc. This set will arrive alongside the next expansion. So this is the set that we are getting. The Vanguard one has a similar design to this. Hunters have a similar design to this. Well, you know, the Crucible one looks like this, and the Gambit one looks like this. They're all very similar, but different in their own way with like different styles, stuff.
They all have a knife.
Yeah, which is interesting.
What do you have?
Knife. This armor can be earned by completing activities or through vendor rank ups. Weekly challenges are also being updated to offer avenues for players to earn higher stat packages for these armor sets. That's a pretty nice change. Additionally, Year 4 will see the return of pursuit weapons. For those of you who may have joined our community in the last season or two, these weapons have static perks, but allow for some customization. The final 2 perk columns have multiple perks to choose from, so you can tailor your weapon to your desired playstyle, or to your desired playstyle. Our eagle-eyed guardians may recognize this beauty from a recent Stasis trailer. This is the weapon that they're talking about. The file name for it is called the Adored, so that is the name of the weapon. Our goal is to have a pursuit weapon available per season. That means one specific weapon per season that has like a special quest or whatever that has the 2 perk column thing, yada yada. Earned through a focused quest. Banshee will give you a choice between Strikes, Crucible, or Gambit to earn the base model. Make sure you take a moment to think about how you want to earn the weapon, as you'll be locked into specific objectives or whichever activity you pick. Once you finish the main quest, Commander Zavala, Lord Shax, and the Drifter will offer you an additional quest which will reward you with weapon ornaments to the theme of their respective activities. If you're omnivorous and enjoy all 3 offerings, all 3 will be available to you. So that means in the coming seasons, no matter what the weapon is, you can get the playlist-specific ornamented version that you prefer. Or you can have all 3.
Still see like the gems from Beloved underneath it.
Yeah. It's I won't talk about that. I kind of went in about the Slifer because it's.
Well, we don't know how it's gonna operate.
We don't know how it's gonna operate. You're right. It might actually be better. It might, operate differently.
We don't know.
Hey.
We don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know. No one knows.
None of us know. But it looks like the Beloved, and that's a little concerning. Anyway, yeah, the Gambit one does look pretty nice. I like the green and black. That's pretty clean. The Crucible one is pretty nice too, but like that Gambit one is too clean. So now that we've caught your eye with some fancy armor and a new sniper, let's take a quick look at how things are changing for core activities as you launch into your new adventures on November 10th. Strike, Gambit, and Crucible playlists are being streamlined. Crucible. Starting in Season 12, the director will be updated to reduce the number of playlists available at a given time. Featured modes, Control, Elimination, Rumble, Survival, both Survival and Survival Freelance will be available. Weekly rotators, Clash, Mayhem, and Showdown. Private matches, limited availability. Iron Banner and Iron Banner Freelance will make its debut in Season 12. Similar to competitive, this will be a smaller node next to Iron Banner when the playlist is available. That means solo queue for Iron Banner. That means no more running into teams if you're running in solo. That's
counting that the other day.
That's exactly. That's nice for a lot of people. Everybody likes that.
Everybody likes that.
Indeed. Weekend availability. Trials of Osiris. Note: Adept weapons. All you Destiny 1 veterans, this is for y'all. Adept weapons rewarded to those reaching the lighthouse. Return to Trials of Osiris in Season 12. More on details and functionality to come in the sandbox preview currently planned for October. So look out for October. It's going to be thick. This is what the Crucible directory will now look like. I assume Trials of Osiris will be at the top. Iron Banner will be at the bottom. Either that or they'll both be at the top. Yeah. Looks clean. A lot less cluttered. pretty, everything centered. Looks pretty nice. Strikes. Vanguard Strikes and Nightfall the Ordeal will be the only two available playlists. Each playlist will continue to offer weekly challenges for powerful loot. Nightfall the Ordeal will continue to feature matchmaking at lower difficulties and increased rewards for higher difficulty options. Note, we're also looking to add adept weapons to strikes in future seasons. We'll have updates closer to season 13 on what to expect. So,
Nice.
Nightfall specific rewards, anyone?
Thank you. Please.
Please.
Like right now they might be doing weapons, but like maybe they might add armor later, because that would be cool.
Tasty.
Very. Once again, very streamlined, very centered and focused. Of course, the main focus is Nightfall, but you got your Vanguard Strikes over here. Very cool. Gambit. This one's kind of huge. As covered last week, Gambit and Gambit Prime will be consolidated into a single mode. We have some additional details on specific rule changes, as well as development notes from the team on how things are changing and the goals behind them. Hi, Gambiteers. That's a weird name. We wanted to give you an explanation. Of rule changes coming to Gambit in November, as well as a key update from last week. First, some goals we wrote down before we started. Build a more approachable Gambit Prime, keeping the 1-round format with a longer round, but without Gambit Prime armor perks. Okay. Rebalance the moat phase to last 2/3 of each match, rather than a half of the match. Interesting. Speed up the Primeval fight compared to Gambit Prime to give more of a feeling of a boss rush. Okay. We started with Gambit Prime encounters full stop. However, without the Reaper buffs, the large bosses that come in enemy waves were too tanky, so we pulled them all down to mini boss or elite. The way pacing should feel like how Gambit feels for a pickup group, or how Prime feels for a full knitted team. Neil, what's your take on that? We're gonna go piece by piece with this Gambit stuff, because I know you're the residential Gambit player.
Got it. Yeah, so they're trying to. I actually, before we get into this, I read the entire thing, and yeah, okay. So for Gambit, they're. I wanted to say overhaul the system, but it's more like just, I don't know, consolidating it, changing a couple, or actually a lot of things that are different. But that boss rush phase, yeah, that was kind of hard if you didn't have any of the armor perks. I can remember from back when it came out and everyone actually used the armor. Yeah, it worked like a dream. If you had like 2 Reapers at the same time, it was so easy. But if you had no Reapers, which honestly was rare, but it happened, then it was a lot more difficult to do, like in general. So yeah, having it tuned that there's like no armor perks, is that what they said?
Yeah, no armor perks.
Yeah, so that means they have to like change a lot of different aspects of the game that were designed around the armor perks, specifically for Prime. Yeah, but then for regular Gambit, that was a bit different. I don't know, like for regular Gambit, it's kind of hard to quantify for me because I kind of shied away from regular when Prime rolled around. So
that's
I
true.
don't know.
All right. Well,
I don't really remember too much.
That's fair. To continue, they said we also play tested the having the moats phase target at a score of 150 and or have a heavier moat drain, but this allowed organized teams to steamroll even more efficiently, not less. So we pulled back to the current Gambit Prime moat target and drain. So then they're keeping the moat target and drain from Gambit Prime and adding that to this new version of Gambit.
Yeah, honestly, that bit was a huge game changer.
100% it was.
That more than anything else, I think, because that allowed you to passively collect motes.
True. And then they can go on to say we started with the Gambit Prime blockers, but pulled the Taken Captain, yay, from the blocker lineup,
Hallelujah.
as he proved a little too potent, for a 10 mote blocker. We replaced him with the Phalanx, who can be tough to kill, but not as lethal. Thank you.
Wait, hold on, just real quick. I seem to recall that a Taken Phalanx was at the very beginning of Gambit.
Yes,
Okay, so they're going back to what they originally did.
seems that
Because
way.
I think they upgraded it to a captain.
Yeah.
I don't remember when, but yeah, that seemed that sparked a memory in me. So
Yeah.
Vivid flashbacks.
Right. Since we don't have the armor perks, we also had to remove the 20 mote blocker. We kept the invasions during mote phase at 3, just like Gambit Prime, but pulled back the minimum time between invasions during mote phase from 10 seconds to 20 seconds. It never feels good to get invaded back to back. Thank you. Thank you. For the boss fight.
Is that Neil saying that you want to invade constantly?
Yeah, no, people just kind of formed a line next to the gate at times.
It was dumb.
Yeah.
For the boss fight, we started with the Gambit Primeval fight. Removed the timed Slayer buffs. Okay. Increased the Primeval health and potency of the Slayer buff given by when killing in envoys. We respawn the envoys every 40% damage done to the Primeval. So if you get invaded and the Primeval is healed a lot, you have the opportunity to get more Slayer buffs and catch up. The fight length ends up somewhere in between the original Gambit and Gambit Prime, so we adjusted the invasion timer during the Primeval phase to match right in between Gambit and Gambit Prime timing.
That
part is interesting.
Yeah, like I said, it's okay. So one of the main things that I really appreciated was the fact that the timer actually added buffs as the primeval fight continued, no matter how many envoys you killed or not. But now they were removing that, but increasing the number of envoys that spawn by doing it by damage. So that means, let's see, every 40% done to the primeval. So that would give you, if I'm recalling correctly, a times 6 buff if you completely just go for it.
Right.
And if you die and it gets healed, then probably times 10 or 12, depending on how much you want to focus on envoys.
Yeah.
So okay. Interesting.
See, it kind of makes me wonder what the cap is gonna be.
Yeah,
because like if
what's their cap?
Right now it's like I think. What is it? I think is it 6?
I don't know.
Or is it 9?
I really don't remember. I've seen it go into double digits, I think.
Yeah,
No.
I think the cap is 12 right now. It's like if it gets any higher, I think they've already killed it.
No. I've actually had a couple of prime matches time out because it was just too long. But yeah, I don't remember what the score was for that. Like, I don't remember how high the buff went.
But yeah, anyway, if it was like unlimited, let's say for example it's unlimited, because like, you know,
Sure,
obviously there's a time limit to the game mode itself. But I feel like with this, there's probably a cap, because let's say you get invaded a lot, right? And you're like, you know, you're killing the envoys or whatever, you're doing your thing, and you're constantly getting stacks. If there's no cap, or if the cap isn't like, you know, at a decent level, thank you for the 5-month sub, Ken. Appreciate you. If they don't have it at like a moderate cap, then I feel like people are gonna abuse that heavily. Like you just purposely get killed by the invader, and then if you have the tools, you melt the envoys extremely quickly, and then you wait. and then you keep doing it until you get like a high enough buff, and then you just destroy the primeval. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna
Where
be a
is it?
problem.
There's a
Oh,
comment that they made. I can't remember where it was. Maybe it's ahead, maybe it's behind. I can't remember. But
Hmm.
essentially, they said, "Well, maybe you can just, allow yourself to die in order to like get stuff done." I think that's ahead, maybe. So maybe skipping
Hmm.
ahead. But yeah, there was a comment there from the developers. I'm like,
Ah.
okay, that's interesting.
Hmm.
So yeah, you were gonna say something?
I was just gonna say that that honestly, like, I mean, I don't play a lot of Gambit, so that's one of the reasons I haven't really been making comments on this
Sure.
as much, which is fair.
Mhm.
But he's saying that you can die and continue to stack it only works if the other team isn't competent, because there's still a chance that that team, if they're all competent in doing what they should be doing, can still take the primeval out before you can get enough stacks to do that
Hmm.
much damage. Like, you
Hmm.
may still, if you're just trying to die over and over and over again to get more primeval, like to get more of them to spawn so you can do more damage to the primeval, then the other team may have enough time to just kill it anyway. So
Well,
who knows?
it all depends on like if you have someone going over there and invading, right? So like
Yeah.
for example, if it's like I've noticed recently, like just playing Gambit, that like some people just don't invade, which is really strange.
Oh no, they've
I
never.
don't
For a
get
lot of those games, they don't invade. Like
Yeah,
no one invades. I'm like, okay,
it's
I'm
kind of
gonna go.
frustrating.
I'm a
Yeah,
hunter, but I'm gonna go.
right, right. But yeah, like so, for example, if they just choose not to invade, but the other team is just constantly invading, then there will be no time to like gather up a lot of stacks. But if you're getting constantly killed and you're able to just melt down these envoys and you just die on purpose, you could definitely have enough stacks more than the enemy team and
Yeah.
probably just burst down the primeval
Yeah,
no problem.
one of the
Especially with like
strategies that I
1,000 voices and like
remember.
the
Yeah, or
anarchy.
especially with one of those hard hitting weapons.
Uh huh.
But yeah, no, one of the tactics I actually remember was people just killing envoys and waiting for the invade. Then they immediately kill the invader and then kill the last envoy to like spawn the thing. And they just kept on like doing that as a cycle. They just wait for the invade
Yeah,
and then they start doing damage
it's
after.
literally what I tell people to do. Like if I'm
Yeah,
playing with other people, especially because I think me and Neil actually formed that strategy. I don't
yeah,
know if like other people like discovered it around the same time, but like me when we were like when Gambit Prime was huge and like everybody had the armor and all that, like we formed that strategy where okay, you kill the first two envoys, and then you wait for the last one, wait for them to invade, kill the invader, kill the last envoy, and then you do all the damage. That way you don't have to worry about getting invaded as you're doing all the damage.
yeah. Even with that 10-second like spawning, that's still a lot of damage done.
It's still a lot. So like yeah, people are gonna come up. People are gonna abuse this heavily. I want. That's why I want to know what the
It
cap
depends on how
is.
many invasions we get.
That's true. How many invasions you get, and also like how much it scales with the stacks, and how many stacks you can actually get, and if there's
Yeah,
a limit.
because they're already having a 20-second timeout period for that, which is
Exactly.
double what we had before.
Right.
And in a fight, that's a good long while.
Very much true. And they close with, so overall this mode will be a little quicker than Gambit Prime, mostly due to shortening the boss phase and the removal of the larger bosses from the fronts. And on that still gives, but one that still gives that great Gambit feeling that you all love. And then they show the new Gambit screen. I like how the Gambit icon is now on the derelict, like on the piece that's like being dragged by the drifter ship, and then the other one's just off to the side. It makes me wonder if like they're gonna add something to the Gambit screen. It's like there's so much empty space now. There's no middle focus. Makes me wonder.
They
Uh,
kind of did the same thing with the Vanguard screen.
well, sort of, but like the Vanguard, like you can tell the center focus is gonna be like the Nightfall thing. It's like sort of centered, but not really. I don't know. It just looks very spaced out. It looks like there's gonna be something in the center there, which would be
Maybe
interesting.
not. We don't know.
Yeah, it might have something to do with like uh Beyond Light, or like later on during the year. Because I mean, the Drifter is pretty
Who
heavily
knows?
involved in Beyond Light, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus the icons. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the icons look pretty small compared to the others, so for all we know, they might be adding something. Would be interesting. We see you're hungry for info, and we're excited to bring you the heat. As we approach Beyond Light, we'll have more details on how your weekly rituals are changing, economy, Eververse, Sandbox, and more. We're looking forward to talking about things like solo queue for Iron Banner, but we have a few things left to tie up as we approach launch. Stay tuned. Really excited. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the economy because there's going to be a few actually materials that would technically be going away because these planets are leaving. So I wonder how we're going to be able to deal with that. Like, is there going to be like some exchange thing that we can do? Like, should we start hoarding like those planetary materials? Like, give us something.
All to glimmer.
I mean,
That's a lot of glimmer.
That's a lot of.
They would have
You
to
can
increase
only
the
hold so
glimmer.
much glimmer, Neil.
Right, I was about to say you'd have to increase the glimmer cap because oh boy.
Where are you putting your glimmer?
Right.
Nowhere.
He definitely has like a
Don't worry
secret stash
about
off in his room or something.
Yeah.
I'm not hoarding
under the
anything.
bed.
You're hoarding something.
Right. No, but I feel like there's gonna be like some exchange thing, maybe for like weapon parts or something, or probably the new material or like whatever the seasonal material is. That'd be nice. Although with people that have like stacks of like 9,999 of each, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's gonna be weird. I wonder how they're gonna do it. I'm gotta ban somebody. A bot.
Yeah, I
Great.
noticed that.
Yeah. Yeah, bots suck. Triumph trackers. Last week, we announced some changes coming to Triumphs in November. Various Triumphs and seals will soon become unavailable, leaving you to figure out which things to prioritize before the end of the season. Partnering with some community API creators, there are now multiple options for you to create a checklist of sorts. Here's a quick list in no particular order. They're all amazing, and we hope you find one that suits you the best. Destiny Auto Manager, of course, that's the most famous one. You have Light.gg, which is one I use to check like god rolls and all that. Destiny Tracker, Braytech.org, which is another one that I'd like to use. It's really nice. It tracks a lot of stuff. D2 Checklist I have not used, but they seem to all be pretty reliable, pretty decent. And you guys should definitely check those out and use those to the full advantage because Destiny Auto Manager is so useful. Helps you drag items from your vaults and from other characters to your current character and vice versa. Helps you calculate how much power you actually have, what slots you need to like fill in, all that. It's real good. Many thanks to these creators, and we're excited to see how their portals and communities grow as we begin another year of Destiny content. The Noble Quest to vanquish all bugs. They talk about like the companion app stuff, the contact form stuff. They talk about the resolved issues that they fixed in 2.9.2. The current known issues are the following: player badge counts will sometimes not update when the Season of Arrivals collection badge is completed. Mine completed. I don't know about everybody else's. I guess people are just having this issue. I hope it gets fixed soon. The Tribute Hall's completionist triumph does not count season collection badges, which is interesting. Players need to complete the Exodus preparation quest before they can begin the Exodus evacuation quest for Travelers Chosen. So get on that. The artifact is sometimes enabled in Iron Banner, which is a problem, although it doesn't seem to affect how much damage they can actually take or do. It just feels weird when you see a red icon. Hopefully that gets fixed soon because it's really confusing sometimes when you see someone that's 1086 and the pinnacle cap is 1060. Bounties progress is sometimes not counted in Iron Banner. That is a problem. Please fix that. Yes. They have the movie of the week stuff. Go check these out. They're all really cool. People have some great editing skills, and a lot of these people are very much well deserved to be up here. So definitely go check them out. And they close with, it's weird to think 6 years ago I was sitting in my friend's garage wrapped in a blanket playing through Destiny for the first time after calling out sick from work. I think my initial character was a hunter. The cloaks were cool, and the golden guns shown in the trailers caught my eye. I had no clue what Rampage was, why Suros was considered good, or why anyone would care about an exotic rocket launcher. Ah, yes. Fast forward to now. Oh, yes, the Gallahorn days. We have a massive community with multiple expansions, exotics, weapons, subclasses, and more under our belts. We fought back the darkness, lost your light, met a wizard that came from the moon, and more. The good old days. And now, in only a few months after looking at beautiful concept art from since 2014, we'll finally sink our boots in snows of Europa. We'll also be embracing darkness abilities for the first time. I know I've said we're just getting started. A few times since starting on the community team. Oh, DMG. He didn't start out that way. He didn't start out as a community manager. He was playing before he joined Bungie. Interesting. We'll finally sink our boots in... Oh, I already read that. But every release gives us a chance to set off on a new path. Fresh experiences with a sense of wonder, challenges that push you and grow your skill, and opportunities to make new friends along the way. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride. Now it's time for me to hop into Iron Banner as I hunt for a few different roles on my weaponry. I've heard whispers from our sandbox folk on upcoming changes to 110 hand cannons. Might be fun to snag a few random rolls to try out when Beyond Light ships. That conversation is for another time, though. How about next month? We'll see if this little tease makes it through editorial. If it does, I bet you 200,000 glimmer that someone makes a 5-minute YouTube video about it. I'm done. They already did, actually, though.
I think they actually did that like a couple of weeks ago or something.
Yeah. I love how they know.
Way ahead of you, bro.
Right? They're just. I can see I can see Rick Cacus and like everybody else. Cheers, DMG. Happy hunting. All right. One thing I will say before we move on into our next topic is that if they're touching 110 hand cannons, they better touch 180s and 140s because there are some really cool 180s.
Those are really nice, but it's just they haven't been touched in so long.
Yeah, and 140s are like the younger brother of the 150s. The 140s were really good.
Yeah, they were.
Until
like, I think, isn't Luna's a 140?
Luna's a 150.
Okay.
But it makes me think of like Austringer specifically. That was very similar to the EOS Luna, and that's a 140. But it was one of my favorite hand cannons, and it just got bad when 150s essentially got buffed because of the range nerf. So
here's the interesting thing. So, what is the AS Luna? For those people that haven't played your Destiny 1.
Right. So in Destiny 1, they came out with a legendary version of a exotic hand cannon called the Hawk Moon, which was one of the best exotic hand cannons for PvP, other than Thorn before it got nerfed.
Yes.
Yes. So
what is Austringer then?
Austringer is basically modeled after the EOS Luna, and it feels very much like it. It's essentially like...
And what are we getting next season?
Hawkmoon. We're getting Hawkmoon next season. Yes. Full circle. It has made a return. But yeah, I hope they touch 140s, because although I'm not expecting us to have another Ace of Spades meta, we had it. It wasn't fun. Yeah.
Well, it was fun for a while.
You know, if you wanted to use it. But yeah, I hope 110s become more viable. I don't want them to be the only thing used like Gnawing Hunger is currently. But I just want to see more 110s being used as like a viable option. Other than if you're using a hand cannon, which people rarely do now, but if you're using one, it's probably a 150. You're either using Dire Promise or still the Spear Rashes that you can use up until November 10th.
Yeah, I remember actually using, what was it, Cremil's Daggers.
Yeah.
Really, really awesome looking gun in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think early on in Destiny 2's history, I actually was able to like essentially two tap at a very specific range with it. Just like two headshots and just done. I'm like, oh my
Uh-huh.
god, this is amazing. But being able to land those hits was the problem because it takes so long to shoot properly with that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it was really nice and one of the few hand cannons I actually truly enjoyed that wasn't like an exotic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
It
nice.
was real good. So yeah, next month in October they're gonna be talking more about like the economy, Eververse, uh, sandbox stuff, and hopefully, I wonder because I'm pretty sure they're gonna tune down 600 RPM auto rifles, but they're probably gonna like
Yeah.
bring up some of the others. I wonder how they're going to like. I wonder what they're gonna do with scout rifles because scout rifles are in a really rough place.
When was the last time there was a scout rifle meta?
Um, when did Randy's come out?
I think that was Season of Undying.
Yeah, the start of year 3,
Yeah.
and everybody used Randy's. That's what it was.
For me, because my night watch was better.
Was. And
Yeah.
now it's just
Well,
a
I mean, no,
decently
actually,
rolled night
I
watch.
got another reroll of my my night watch, so it's better than my previous one. I
Oh,
love it,
well there you go.
and it's not going away.
That's perfect.
Yay.
So yeah, that is the TWAB portion. You'll be taking a small break to like go to the bathroom or whatever. Do whatever, stretch the legs and everything.
I used all of my water, so I'm getting more of
Yeah, I was
that.
about to say yeah. So we will be right back. But before I go on break, I'll talk about the sponsors for a little bit. TriumphChairs.com. If you want high quality gaming chairs, go to TriumphChairs.com and use code OTEN for 10% off anything in that store. And same thing goes for AeroXAIndustries.com. If you want really nice computer peripherals like computer mice, mouse pads, like the full-on desk ones, headsets, and really nice and well-designed keyboards, go to that website, AeroXAIndustries.com, and use code OTEN. That's OTEN for 10% off anything in those stores. Thank you very much. And we shall be right back very soon. Thank you. And we're back with Neagle 9 and Mercy. Nakia Chop is also here, but they're going to be sharing a mic, so they will be switching off when either of them wants to, speak on a certain thing.
At the moment, he's just here in spirit because he's doing something else in the other room.
Yeah.
He has a ritual when he gets home, and it is go be a potato in the other room for 5 minutes.
That's fair.
That is honestly fair. I know that exact feeling.
Yup.
His ritual.
It takes me like 15 minutes to doff my armor, essentially, when I get back from work. Ugh.
Yep.
That's 100% fair.
Get someone
Okay.
comfortable.
All right. So, can I just jump in? Because apparently,
Oh, please go.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Here we go. Now that we're actually online and not just talking to yourself.
Yeah.
during the break, I thought we were back on because we were talking like we were, and I just went off and started talking about the topic I wanted to. So I'm gonna bring it up now when we're on camera.
Yes.
So I've heard people talk about the fact that stasis is ice-based, and it's like, why is the darkness ice-based? They're kind of weird, and it's all been water-based so far, like the deep and all that versus the sky. Well, my answer to that is entropy, and yeah, like when you are trying to slow down molecules and condense things and taking away energy from it, that makes things colder and makes things crystallize. So yeah, water turning to ice and that kind of thing. So it makes total sense to me that darkness has ice-based powers. But yeah, it's also an interesting facet of the universe because what is void then?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because people for a really, really long time thought that the darkness power was void, but now we have ice-based stuff, so that is kind of like a question mark now.
Yeah.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know what I think?
Well,
Hmm?
It looks cool.
it definitely
'Cause I
looks
look
cool.
Done.
Definitely looks
Mic
cool.
drop.
Right.
Excellent point.
Conversation had.
Right, and that's the end of the video, guys. No, I'm just kidding. It looks cool.
And title card.
Right. All right, and with that being said, this is the Stasis Spotlight Hunter Revenant. We're going to basically be talking about all the cool things that are going to be happening with the new Hunter subclass. We're going to go over some of the grenades since they revealed some of it and got into more detail. And they're showing a bit more about the Hunter. They go into a bit more detail about like how Stasis works. We're also going to be briefly talking about the Warlock, Shadebinder, and the Titan Behemoth. But the main focus is the Hunter today. We have Neagle 9 and Mercy here currently. Neagle 9, how long have you been playing Destiny in general for?
I've been playing Destiny since the beta for Destiny 1. So a very long time. Like almost the whole time. Not as long as you, however, my good buddy. But yeah, I've been playing for a very, very long time, and I have only ever played Hunter. I have never once gotten another character into another class. So all I've ever known of Destiny is Hunter. So
Okay.
that is my little qualification here.
Okay. And Mercy, how long have you been playing
Oh.
Destiny in general?
Well, girls, I'm not nearly as qualified as you are. I've been playing. So, funny story. I have only ever played Destiny 2. I've never played Destiny 1. I don't have any experience with Destiny 1 whatsoever.
Okay.
Because I can't use consoles. And that's not to say consoles are bad. I have nothing against people who play on console. I cannot run in a straight line, let alone aim at things on a console.
That's fair.
I am a literal potato because I never played consoles as a kid because my brother hogged them when I was a kid. But we're not even into that. We're just going to talk about the fact that I can't shoot to save my goddamn life on a console.
Have
So
you
I
tried
really haven't played
Inverted?
No, it doesn't matter. It's the sticks. I can't get them to. It's like I'm moving through molasses. Adam can contest this. It's really funny. I have to anytime I play anything on console, I have to play like classes that have like automatic shooting like turrets and stuff if they have them, because otherwise I can't do anything.
Yeah, that's
So-
that's me using a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, I'm an actual potato. Other interesting thing is Destiny 2 is actually my very first ever shooter. I never played a shooter before.
Alright. Oh, so okay, so
Ah.
this is the veteran talking to the new blood then.
Pretty much. And
Very-
I actually originally played a warlock for a long time.
Okay.
But the reason I switched to hunter was because I was tired of dying so fast.
That's
Oi!
fair.
We
I
live
was
in the red.
"Fuck,
It's our
I'm so
flag. We
goddamn
find
I'm so
comfort in the fact
squishy."
that our ensigns are on the outside.
It got to the point where I was so squishy and I felt like I did not do enough, and the hunter just felt. I think, honestly, this is gonna sound really dumb. I do art, and I feel like that the animation to the dodge, like, that was the reason I switched. I really
That's
think
fair.
that it felt so cool with my dodge animation. Like, it just felt cooler and less clunky than the hunter did,
It
or
did
not
be
the hunter,
cool.
than the warlock did. So, do you want to talk about how long you've been here? Do you want to switch and say how long you've been
Yeah,
here?
Adam, we gotta ask you some questions. One question currently.
In Destiny. They're talking about here. I'll switch to Adam. You'll have to ask him the question again.
Yeah.
Headphones are wet because I got out of the shower and immediately got on. So they're a little wet.
Hello.
Hey, Adam.
Hi.
So everybody, this is Adam. A lot of you know him from when me, Neil, and Adam did our Trials of Osiris runs, which we probably will be making a return to in Season 12, since they will be bringing adept weapons and all that fun and excitement that we talked about earlier. More on that later, of course, because they're going to be talking about sandbox changes in October. Anyway, Adam, you're a hunter main, right?
Yes.
And how long have you been playing Destiny in general?
Since the first one, I want to say we were there pretty much right at the beginning. I don't think I made it to beta, but I was there for launch.
Okay. What are your experiences with like Hunter and everything?
I've been a hunter pretty much the whole time. I have an alternate Titan that I enjoy playing occasionally, but that's only if I have done everything I want to do on my hunter.
Okay. Okay.
And I've never touched warlock.
That's fair.
But I don't know. I really like the mobility of the hunter. Being able to go invisible and stuff is a lot of fun. I have fond memories of Destiny 1 being able to solo the first encounter of Crota's End just because I could turn invisible the whole time.
Ah,
with the,
yes.
With the Arc Strider stuff, or Blade Dancer, or whatever it was at the time.
The Don't Touch Me
yeah.
gauntlets.
Which ones were those?
Where you meleeed and you turned invisible, I think. You didn't have to kill, you just had to melee.
Yeah, because back then we didn't have the Void subclass.
Yeah, you
so
could
that
just
was
dodge
when you
turn
went
invisible. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Arc was the invisibility one back then, and it had a perk on it where you just had to crouch in place for a few seconds and you turn invisible.
Yep.
I remember that. Oh my god, that was so long ago.
Yeah, that's what I used to do in the first encounter for Crota. It was like you had to follow the maze of lanterns through the pitch blackness.
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember those days.
Yeah, it was.
I remember taking it to the hole 50 times in a row. Same hole.
Infinite crawl, but I could run to a lantern, crouch in place, and turn invisible, and they just kind of milled about in the darkness and couldn't find me.
Too good.
Which way did he go?
Right.
So that was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. All right, and now we'll go on with the details for the Hunter Revenants. Stasis subclass Hunter Revenant. Bring the storm. Revenants are a worthy ally in any battle. Summon the storm, use it for cover, lure enemies inside, then unleash devastation. Their super is called Silence and Squall. Channeling stasis shards towards them. Revenants form comma blades and use them to unleash a lethal two-pronged attack. Their melee is called Deadly Edge. Upon impact, the first blade this is the way the super works. Upon impact, the first blade shatters and sends out a wave of stasis energy that freezes enemies in the surrounding area. And then the second blade, when that hits, it's called Stasis Storm. It creates a violent stasis storm that hones in on nearby enemies, slowing, damaging, and eventually freezing them. The melee is called Withering Blade. It's a little shuriken. The Revenant throws a razor-sharp stasis shurikens into the fray that ricochet off multiple enemies and surfaces, slowing and damaging them in the process. And then they go on to say, welcome to this edition in our series of Stasis Spotlight articles, where we're examining Stasis via each of the 3 Guardian classes in Destiny 2. earlier in the series, we featured the Warlock Shadebinder and the Titan Behemoth. In this final article of the series, we're focusing on the Hunter Revenant. Right off the bat, coming from the infographic, Neil, we'll start with you. What's your take? Just right off the bat, raw like
Ice Ninja.
basically.
Yeah, because commas are a traditional Japanese farming implement. They're essentially their version of a sickle, where it's straight edge and just wooden stick, as opposed to the more classically curved variety from Europe. Yeah, these things are interesting. They also have Withering Blade, which looks like a shuriken, and I've seen the gameplay. Yeah, it is a shuriken. So, Ice Ninja.
Ice Ninja, exactly.
I'm expecting a lot of gadgetry usage.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. Mercy next. If she was able to hear everything, what does she think? What do you think?
What do you think about the new class stuff, Mercy?
I think we look cool as hell.
Yeah.
I mean,
Literally or figuratively?
listen, I'm a very simple person. Make me look cool as hell, and I'm probably gonna pick that class.
Literally cool because ice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, and I'm a ninja, which I mean that's pretty edgy. So cool.
A and
Even more
Adam.
edgy with all the spikes.
I'm excited about it. I'm a little. I mean, I've kind of talked to Adam about some of the stuff. I didn't hear everything you guys went over, so I don't want to like touch on things we haven't really talked
Fair.
about yet. But I'm a little concerned about like how things are physically going to work because I can be.
We're gonna get into that.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get into that.
But I mean, like how they're going to feel. Because
Yeah.
you can tell me numbers and you can tell me how it's supposed to work, but until I'm in there and I can feel how the class works, it doesn't matter.
Right,
what you have to
right.
say about it. So
Agreed.
I agree.
I'm excited. Visually, I was worried when I saw how cool that the Warlocks were because I was like, oh man, we gotta be cooler than the Warlocks, right? But I'm pleasantly surprised about how bitchin' we look as
Heck yeah. And Adam, what do you think?
I think I was a little bit in the same boat as Mercy. Like the fact that Warlocks seem to get all of the freeze stuff, and I mean Hunters are getting some freeze, but it seems to be more about the slow. I was a little disappointed that we weren't getting more just straight up freezing.
Right.
But, I mean, again, it might feel different like actually playing it.
Definitely.
But I think the Ice Ninja is a cool way to go. And I mean, more than anything, I'm looking forward to how this might translate into the other subclasses.
I 100% agree. I'm very interested. That's why we're also going to be briefly touching on the Warlock and the Titan. So they go on to say, finding the fantasy. One of the most important parts of developing Stasis and its accompanying Guardian subclass has been in defining each of their fantasies. The team has spent a great deal of time iterating each subclass, starting with the fantasy, which instantly summarizes the experience. In some cases, that comes with ease. For example, the fantasy shorthand for the Warlock Shadebinder was established early on as an ice wizard. Stasis is ice, confirmed. From that simple phrase, anyone could instantly conjure the image in their mind of what it would be like to play as a stasis-powered Warlock in Beyond Light, summoning your stasis staff and unleashing dark energy to freeze opponents. Other times, the fantasy evolves over the course of many discussions, iterations, and playtests. That was the case with the Hunter Revenant subclass, which went through many iterations before they aligned on the ninja archetype. The result is an amazing stasis experience that we can't wait for Hunter fans to try them for themselves. And they show pretty cool images. They look very dope and very sick. I'll post them in on Discord because they look very nice for wallpapers. Because they just look dope. Early on, we knew that the Hunter would embody the idea of slowing the battle around them with their stasis powers. That starts with Withering Blade, the Hunter Revenant's melee attack. The player throws a deadly stasis shuriken into the fight. It ricochets off surfaces and enemies, slowing and damaging them along the way. Land 2 shuriken on the same target, and that enemy will be instantly frozen. Interesting.
Oof.
Neil, what's your thoughts?
Freeze at any one target. But if I remember correctly from the video that we saw, they don't slow down after hitting an opponent. So theoretically, you can do this in a line and just hit multiple targets.
Yeah,
Right.
that makes sense.
But see, the thing is, like, from what it seems like, you definitely...
But you
like,
have to hit them twice.
Right, I was about to say, for them to be instantly frozen, both melees have to go out.
Yeah, well, if you miss the second target with the second blade, they're still slow. So
Yeah, they're
that's
definitely still
goes to
slow.
advantage.
I
Right.
don't think they're talking about the. I don't think they're talking about the ult yet. I think they're just talking
Yeah,
about the
Yeah, the
range.
melee.
This is the melee. This is
100%.
the throwing.
I mean, if you're running around as a hunter and you're running around, I usually run around with the dodge where you reload.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's just great. But if you're running around with the dodge where you get your melee back, you could just melee dodge, which is going to slow them if they haven't or if they don't. I mean, I don't know how much
Yeah, I
slow
mean,
back,
that's
and then
actually
hit them again.
Mm-mm.
yeah, that was the tactic for Top Tree Arc Strider, where you do the dodge melee one and you just infinitely punch things.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what
you
makes the
do-
Liar's Handshake so fun.
exactly. Yeah, like that. The 1-2 punch with that thing is really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if there's going to be a similar like thing that we have. Maybe not an exotic, maybe one of those other things. I can't remember what they're called.
And that's
That we get.
something I just thought of now, like that they haven't mentioned yet. I mean, not that they would have had to yet, but
Right.
there's I mean, we get exotics that are specific to elemental classes. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's gonna be new stuff for this that will be specifically geared to these melees and
Oh,
supers.
100%.
Yeah. So that's a sorry, quadruple new thing because then there's going to be all that like I don't know, auxiliary stuff.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, like, we haven't, because like there's still gonna be specific aspects for the hunter, and then like certain fragments that can like align with it. So it's this whole thing. Like, there's gonna be a lot of build crafting, and I can't wait for it. I'm so excited. So excited. And then they continue on with saying, when fully charged with ability energy, the hunter Revenant can unleash their deadly super Silence and Squall, named after the pair of Kama blades that the hunter summons. This super involves a two-pronged attack, with each Kama blade having a different function. The first blade, when thrown, immediately detonates on impact, freezing enemies in a radius from the center of the blast. Hurl Squall, the second blade, and it will embed itself in a surface or an enemy, and then detonate, creating a stasis storm that will track nearby enemies, slowing and damaging them as it makes contact. What do you guys
What I
think?
wonder is how strong that tracking is. Is it going to be aggressive or is it going to be slow? That's my main question here because if it's a two-pronged attack, the first one seems like an extension of the other abilities that we have. It's just a bigger sphere.
Right.
But the second one, that one is the more unique one out of all the abilities for the hunter, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, how strong is that tracking? And will one of those like perks that we get from either exotics, the artifacts, or the fragments, will that be able to create more of those storms?
Not like maybe like more storms generate from kills or something?
Yeah, if like they can like split off from each other or something, because that seems like a very easy thing to do for like an exotic.
Yeah. Because I mean, like back in Destiny 1, they had an exotic where for the Stormcaller, because they had the class node thing, and like you can select like Ionic Blink or Landfall, and Landfall, when you activated your super, was like you shot lightning at the ground and it created like an AoE effect, and then you were in your super. But then
to that thing way too much.
yeah, and then the exotic was for that where like you had Landfall all the time, so you had these gauntlets where when you activated your super, you automatically always had Landfall. but that means you could pair it with Ionic Blink. So you had Ionic
Yeah.
Blink and Landfall at the same time if you really wanted to run that. So I think, from what it seems like, it might be a similar thing where, like, oh, maybe one of the aspects is it generates more tornadoes or whatever, or it has a wider range for like freezing, but then you have these, like, you have this exotic on, and then boom, you have more tornadoes, or the radius is automatically wider and you don't have to use those certain aspects for those. It's like
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
yeah, because like when you look, there's like a limit for aspects. At least like at this beginner level, I don't know if they're gonna scale where like you can have like more than just 2, but it definitely seems like if we have limited aspects, you can only have 2, and we have like so many, for example, then like it'll definitely free up a slot for a different aspect.
Yeah.
What do you
My
think, Adam?
question is if I have to name my blades Silence and Squall, or if I could name them like Sunday School and the Judge.
Asking the real questions here.
Yeah, I need that aspect unlocked first, where I can just rename my blades.
Right.
And everyone can see them.
Or Batman and Robin.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Batman
renaming
and Robin.
give us the renaming of the supers.
There you go.
Table 9 cast water pistol.
Yes.
But I mean, they do kind of explain it here, but it seems like there's some ambiguity, so I'm not really sure what exactly some of this is gonna mean. Like the fact that it like tracks people, like, because in the video that we've seen, it kind of just looks like a big detonation.
True.
So I'm not really sure what that's going to translate into, but I mean, it sounds pretty good. But it also sounds like you can spread it out. Like you could throw one blade here and another blade somewhere else entirely.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, in the video, I believe they actually did that. They
Yeah.
hit one in location and then like turned and like threw it to somewhere else.
So I'm not exactly sure what that will mean either. Like you're just putting slow in one place and damage in another or something.
Yeah, maybe you need to do like different things. Maybe you need to like set up for another thing that you can do. Maybe
Right.
it's like a heavy attack. You know,
Right.
like maybe you have like a rocket launcher or something that you're like blast to
Right.
slow people while you're annihilating the other one with the exploding comma.
Right. Well, and
Mhm.
you might have an aspect or something that lets you do more damage to slowed things. So it might benefit you
that.
to spread more slow around so you can shoot
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah. That could
And
also
same
be
with the melee, the fact that you get 2 charges. You could hit one guy with both charges to freeze him, but it might also benefit you more to slow more people instead of freeze fewer.
Mm.
So
Okay.
I mean, there's going to be different strategies as far as that goes.
Oh,
There's gonna be
100%
a
there are.
plethora of different strategies.
I'm excited.
Well, like one of the things
yeah.
I wanted to mention that I just sort of thought of was I mean, obviously each of our characters are the hunter or the guardian. Do you know what I mean? In the
Uh-huh.
story. But the fact that our character is now like likely going to be the first stasis guardian.
Right.
Is kind of like that our character is like going to pave this pathway sort of
Mhm.
thing is kind of neat because we haven't really had anything quite like that before.
True.
You know, like, we have exotics named after people that people made this exotic.
Oh, that's a good point. Like
We're
Yeah.
the
there's all these named exotics, but you're not going to really be able to do that with any of the
Well,
stasis
actually,
stuff.
we've made a couple of exotics before. We
Mm.
made malfeasance, the first malfeasance.
That's
We
true.
also made the first Lumina.
We
Yeah.
made the first
But I'm
touch
just
of
saying that
malice.
now our character is the first stasis
Yeah,
potentially.
100%.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
And
yeah,
I think that opens up some exciting stuff because then you could like the exotic might be like a piece of fallen gear or something, or
that would be
like,
really interesting.
like a tatter from like a wizard's robe or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, yeah, like I think we've appropriated as Guardians some of our enemies' technology and utilized it before.
Mm-hmm.
But that's taking it to a different level where you're taking parts of the enemy and grafting them into yourself.
Well, and we're already seeing that with some of these the new
Aspects.
like class. Yeah, the aspects are like some of them is
Yeah.
like
Like
one of
fallen
them's like a
arm.
frozen fractal or something.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
one of those Vex things.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called.
Conflux.
And yeah,
Conflux.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's just a frozen piece of conflux, and we're just
Uh-huh.
using that like
Yeah.
passively.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but then like it's also like the hunter's MO as well, because like I believe like for the hunters, like they picked up the void bow, and that's when they
Oh
started
no,
using it
that's okay. So that scene was I'll never forget that for the rest of my life.
from Destiny
That
One
scene was
Taken
very
King.
interesting. So back in Destiny 1 year, up until actually the Taken King, like we didn't get it at the start of the Taken King.
Yeah, you have to
Um
go through a quest
you
for
had
it.
to unlock it. We only had Arc and Solar, and you started
Yep.
out with Solar, and then you unlocked your Arc stuff, I think.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so for a really, really long time, hunters were never able to do void damage, and we didn't even know how to approach that
Outside of guns.
outside of the
Right,
weaponry
right.
itself. Yeah, like we couldn't use void light. And actually, I think they made a point of it in the mission saying, "Hey, uh, a lot of hunters are wondering why you can't use void." And my response to that is, "What do you think of void?" And unanimously, the answer was, "It terrifies us."
Hmm.
So that's the reason why we had such a hard time actually forming the
That's interesting.
void bow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like hunters were scared of the void.
I'll have to relook into that stuff. I don't remember that quest very well.
Yeah, no, that's because people rarely read the actual quest things. There's always super interesting information in that little thing. So
Well,
I'm
and
just
the,
like,
the
I
lore
try to
was a
make a
little
point of reading it.
harder. The lore
But
was a
yeah,
little harder to like pull out of the game in the first
yeah,
one.
because sometimes they
Mm-hmm.
just go by so quick. So it's just
Yeah.
like you have to actually like dig into the files.
True.
But yeah, so that aspect was super hard for hunters to like grasp. But once we were gifted the our bow by what was his name? Oh God, I can't remember.
I think it was
Maybe
a
it
female,
was
'cause I think they talk
maybe.
about it in this game. I think they talk about it when you first pick up your super. It goes through like that spooky story time or whatever they used to call it.
Oh no, that's actually a different hunter entirely. That
Is
was
it?
a living one.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that we encountered when we got there, it was Cade's friend, and he was already dead. And we're like, okay, we need to take his bow before it disappears. So we took that power. In the
Oh.
second game, we reconnected to our own stuff, but we had to go through this process of understanding what it means to
Yeah.
be
I really
a night
liked those
stalker.
quests.
It was cool.
And it was to actually it was from the point of view of a dredgen. And she was talking about how like what the void means and stuff. And then we got like a little bit of the lore for the I think it was Thorn and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No, the like whole like uh and the hero held a rose in a strong arm, and his aura burned bright and all that stuff. Like
Yeah.
that whole thing. That was but what okay, so that is hunters. That we have to like go out there and discover it in the wilds, and sometimes it's given to us by like a mentor or something, but for the most part we're like independent. So for the stasis stuff, how are we going to acquire that as hunters?
Yeah, but I was actually gonna bring that up. Like, I wonder, because like obviously there's gonna be like some narrative to it, right? Because like that's like the main
Yeah.
thing, or at least right when we first get there, probably maybe not like right away, but like there's probably going to be some quests, just like in Destiny One, where it's like, oh, um, like something about the pyramid or whatever, or like something in the ice is calling to you, and you have to go and like get this shard or whatever, and like boom, and it
Yeah,
activates for
well,
you.
yeah, like the I remember for because we started out with Arc Strider as hunters for Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm.
There was no like explanation of what Arc is in the mind of a hunter,
Right.
so that's a little bit unfortunate because I really liked Blade Dancer in Destiny 1. It's
Yeah,
what I
that's
used
cool.
all the time. It was so good.
They changed it so much between the games.
True, I know it was like almost indistinguishable. I'm just like, okay, I don't know what this is anymore. This is new.
Yeah.
But I remember the explanation for the solar and void for Destiny 2 when we were trying to reconnect our light to those aspects.
Uh huh.
And for the explanation for solar, what it is in the mind of a hunter is a a lonely campfire in the middle of a vast desert. And for void, it was a solitary lantern in gray mist.
Hmm.
And that's what like our whole like mentality for solar and void. So now what is it going to be for ice? Like what is that? Maybe we're
Yeah.
like climbing a mountain or something. Like
Well, I
I don't know.
mean, based on the name, like that's like a
A
revenant is
revenant.
it's like a vengeful spirit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it might be something about like coming back to exact some vengeance or something.
Yeah, coming back
Maybe.
from the dead to settle the score.
Yeah.
Oh,
Interesting.
very interesting. All right. As is the case with Warlock Shadebinder and the Titan Behemoth, players using the Hunter Revenant will also be able to customize their stasis powers over time using aspects and fragment slots. Check out our Warlock Shadebinder article for more detail on how aspects and fragments will work, including, for example, a Hunter-specific slow dodge aspect that will allow the Revenant to temporarily slow nearby enemies each time they perform a dodge.
This is gonna be fun. Getting shivers? Is it cold in here for you?
It's getting cold for you.
Mm. I'll talk a little bit of one more, but I'll let other people speak first.
I mean, we already have some exotics and stuff that's gonna make this really nasty. Like
Oh,
the
God.
what is it? The 6th coyote that gives us 2 dodges.
Yeah.
The what were those pants?
Gemini Jester.
No,
Gemini
the pants
Jester.
that drop a bomb when you dodge.
I love the paint.
Bombardiers.
Yeah,
Wraith
that's gonna be a
Mail,
lot of fun.
and then the newly acquired Traveler's Chosen.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
no.
present.
Oh
And
no.
not to mention, like, if you get your mobility up all the way, your dodge comes back in like 10 seconds anyways.
Yep.
And then with Traveler's Chosen, if you get like 3 to 6
kill.
stacks, like holy crap.
No, you don't even need, specifically with a hunter, you don't need to have half of your ability recharge. You just need a little bit because it recharges so fast for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
And if we have multiple of that, dodge, 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 dodge.
it's gonna be everybody's build for a long time in PvP for sure. So of course they showed like the subclass screen and everything. It looks clean just like the others. Then they show one of the aspects, which is called Shatter Dive. We've actually seen this in trailers. Activate while midair to quickly descend and shatter nearby targets on impact. It binds to whatever it is for, for the Warlocks we have Phoenix Dive or whatever. It's the same thing. And then they talk about one of the fragments. Gain a bonus to weapon damage after freezing a target with stasis. You also lose 10 strength. We all know how that works.
Yeah.
Now they go on into grenades, which they haven't actually talked about until this article, actually. We've only seen pictures and videos on what we think how they work, but now they actually go into a bit more detail. Apart from the intrinsic stasis abilities that will be a part of each subclass, all guardian classes using stasis will have their choice of a variety of stasis grenades to use in combat. Glacier grenades. Upon contact with the ground, a wall of stasis crystals instantly burst from the earth, and nearby enemies are frozen inside stasis crystal. These grenades have multiple uses, from encasing enemies to creating cover. When destroyed, the crystals will create an AoE burst damage to nearby enemies. Before I ask your thoughts on it, Adam, they did mention in the This Week at Bungie, they went into more detail about freezing. And just to reiterate for you, freeze and immobilize foes in solid stasis crystals. The effect wears off slowly over time, but if affected players are willing to take some damage in the process, they can break out early by shattering the crystals around them. So before, because me and the rest of High Desert Drifters, that's our clan. That's what we do. Hi, hello. You've seen our raid videos.
If you're new here.
Right. If you're new here, raid videos. This is the people I run with. High Desert Drifters. Hi, hello. Glacier. So with the glacier grenade and it's freezing and slowing in general, we talked, and a lot of us thought that it was going to be extremely annoying because there would be no way to get out. We thought there would be no way to get out, and you would instantly be frozen, and you're stuck for however long they decide to make you frozen. Because I said that, like, obviously they're going to have, like, you know, maybe they're going to have a certain amount of duration depending on like what you're fighting. Like a guardian, maybe like 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds of freeze. But like, it changes a whole lot when you can
Take some damage and
exactly right.
Yeah. So yeah. By the way, 3 seconds of full freeze is still a long time in a very fast paced game like this.
True.
sure.
I mean, the time to kill is less than a second for a lot of these weapons.
Very
so,
true.
Yeah, that's brutal. But if you can break out of it, that allows you at least an opportunity for a counterattack.
Right.
Well, yeah, and especially depending on how you can break out, because I mean, again, I don't play a lot of PvP either. I'm not the PvP player
Sure.
because I'm salty and I'm mean, and I don't like to be that person.
That's fair.
But
We can talk
if
about it for
you're,
PvE as
for
well.
example, if you're, for example, like a void hunter, does that mean do you have to run to get out? How like, or can I dodge out of it and just go invisible and have a couple seconds to get my health back? Do you know what I mean? So you could definitely plan around it if you're concerned about it.
See, for me, I think we'd have to like break it because from what it seems like, because they specifically say that like when you break the stasis crystals, they explode into like sharp, jagged crystals. So what I'm thinking is, if you get frozen inside of like a crystal, you're still able to like look around and like maybe shoot or like melee. So what I'm thinking is like, you have to shoot to break out of it, or melee to break out of it, or like maybe like shoulder charge or dodge out of it. But in that case, it might just break and hurt you that way because of like how the grenade works. You know?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what I'm thinking for this is that there's 3 things that we need to know, and we can't know until we are actually in it.
Right.
How long does it take to break out when we're actively trying to break out?
Uh-huh.
How much damage does it take when we get out?
Yeah.
And what long is the animation for breaking out?
Right.
Mhm.
And we're definitely going to be testing this like as a group, probably when Beyond Light does come out. Like, there's going to be a lot of stuff for that first week, so be on the lookout for it. November 10th. That whole first week, there's going to be a whole lot of stuff we're going to be doing. We're
Are you saying that we're
going to
go into our own private Crucible match, and I'm going to get to shoot at you guys, and you get to see me be salty and mean?
Yeah, why not?
Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Not a good idea. That's a bad idea, Adam.
No, but
Adam, you want to tell the people how mean I get when I'm in Crucible?
You won Among Us last night.
I did, but that's different. And that's because I got to be the stabby bad guy and stab a bunch of people. But we're not talking about Among Us. Yeah, but I also get really. You've heard me get angry in Crucible before. You've heard it. Yes, you have. And it makes everybody awkward and uncomfortable because I'm just like.
That's pretty
I
fair.
yell a lot.
No,
There's a lot
but it's mainly gonna be like for testing. Like, it's not necessarily like, you know, we're gonna be facing off against each other, going sweaty. It's more just like, okay, I'm gonna throw down my glacial grenade. Everybody stand over there, break out of it.
Yeah, it's a lot of just, hey, I need to reset because I'm out of ammo. Can you kill me, please?
Exactly. Yeah. That and like, I want to see if one person breaks out. If there's people around that person that breaks out on the enemy team, will they also take damage? Like, is it going to be like a scatter effect?
At various increments and just like allow a person on the other team to do stuff.
Yeah, because like me and Neil have done weapon testing in the past,
It's not a
and
fight,
like,
it's weapon testing.
yeah, it's essentially just like, okay, how does this work, and how will it work against other people? How will it work against other enemies? You know, stuff like that.
I mean, you say it's just weapon testing, but I'm gonna just shoot you because I can. I'm gonna tell you right now.
I mean, that's what Neil does to me. Yeah, it turned into a full-blown like crucible match between us before. No,
like,
but
bitch, that's not what we agreed on.
right, it's like, wait, hey.
Hey, I like to fight. What can I say?
Right, it's too good. But yeah.
Those crabs from Finding Nemo.
Oh yes. But yeah, like it's gonna be very interesting. I'm interested to see like how breaking out is gonna work. If breaking out causes damage to people on your team, like let's say for example, Neil freezes me, and Adam and Mercy are on my team, and they're near me, but I get frozen, and you guys try to like come over to me to like try and break me out or whatever, if that's possible, or I break myself out, and if I break out and it hurts them.
Sorry, I just had a thought. I'm like, I'm gonna break you out, bro. Titan comes to punch you. Wait, no! Head comes flying off.
You see this behemoth just like,
I got you.
Everybody's like, no!
I can already imagine the
Me
comments.
too! I can imagine it's like, why did you do that? I was able to do it myself. Titan was like, I don't know, man. I saw a wall. I gotta punch it.
Oh man. So.
Oh, that's good.
I wonder if teammates can actually help you out of a bind.
Yeah, I want to know if they're able to help you out. I want to know if they're able to like take damage from you breaking out yourself. I'm so curious. Then they talk about the other grenades. Cold snap grenade. Upon impact, the ground or an enemy. Upon impact with the ground or an enemy, this grenade unleashes a wave of stasis energy that races along the ground in the direction of the closest nearby enemy, freezing them and then searching out the next nearby foe. You can freeze up to 3 enemies with a single cold snap grenade.
So this kind of reminded me of a hybrid between the arc bolt grenade and the colony.
That kind of terror. That terrors my
remember,
mind.
it's ground based. If you jump, it can't kill you. But with the arc grenade, it chains to multiple enemies. With the colony, it only just goes boom once.
Yeah, but with the colony, it goes up the walls.
It does go up the walls.
That exotic terrifies me.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest, and I mean everyone in your thing can call me out. I am such a colony user. I will fuck you up with the colony, and that is the only way I play Crucible. So I can just, and usually I only use it against people that I've decided have like wronged me, and I'm like, fuck you in particular, sure. And I'll just like chase them around and just use it on them the whole fucking time. I am that person.
I love
I'm
it.
like, fuck you. Oh, you're gonna kill me 6 times in a row. All right, we're gonna play this game.
Right, pick up heavy colony. Pa, 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 pa. But yeah, like I think it's gonna be really interesting, seeing how that works. And I assume since you're frozen, you're gonna be able to break out of that as well. Although it may just be for like the crystals with like the glacier grenade, because I assume that's like the giant ice wall that you're able to like put on the walls and everything.
100%. Yeah, that's the ice wall one.
Right. So like if you get frozen using like the cold snap grenade or the dusk field grenade, for example, I wonder if you're able to break out of that, because if you're just encapsulated inside the crystal, I can see that working. But if you're just frozen solid.
Okay, so here's my thing for how the grenades. The glacier grenade is essentially the wall. That one should have the longest duration, considering it has a lot more ice to it.
Okay.
I think the cold snap grenade is going to be a
something quick,
like something that happens at like a medium pace, and is going to be having like a bunch of crystals on you. That is, I believe, like the trailer for like the shuriken one, just freezing you temporarily. Like it'll be probably half the duration of the glacial one.
Okay.
For the dusk one, I don't think it's gonna like fully freeze you at all. That one's just gonna kind of
hold you in place,
slow you. So
yeah,
it's just like, oh, it's just my movements are slow, so I'm going to reload this gun slower, but I can still like do stuff with it.
Right, or at least
maybe
try to.
Your RPM goes down. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, because what they go on to say for the dusk field grenade is dusk field grenades create powerful stasis fields that suck enemies into them when forming. And once an enemy is caught inside, they will be slowed and, if unable to make it out in time, frozen in place. But you will be slowed, and the goal would be to like try and get out of it. But like if you're just caught up, you're frozen.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
But then again, like for this one, it seems like It all depends on like how long it takes for you to actually get frozen. Like how long like the
Yeah.
duration is. Like, okay, it's down or whatever, and someone walks into it, boom, you get sucked in, and you're trying to like run out or walk out. You're probably gonna be forced to walk. You're gonna try and walk
but
out. Then if it doesn't, then you're
I just thought of a
frozen.
combo.
Huh.
If you use the dusk field grenade and like zone off an area, and then someone comes running out of that, couldn't you just dodge to slow them anyways?
Oh my god. I hate the hunters already.
If they would combo off each other, but maybe.
I mean, just saying.
Actually,
Just
no.
saying.
Another one you could do, right, is if your dodge is on cooldown still, you just throw your shuriken. They're slow again anyway.
Yeah.
And then you throw your
Although if they
shuriken again. They're
manage
frozen.
to avoid your dodge, you just throw a shuriken at them.
Yeah.
All of the dodge, or not the dodge. I wonder if all of the slow like debuff, like maybe it's all like cumulative, and it all builds to freeze.
Ooh.
I don't know. Like they haven't mentioned that, but
I mean,
Ooh.
some of these are working.
it sounds like it's like sort of kind of like that seems to me that might be true because with the shuriken they say specifically hitting with the first one slows you, hitting with the second one instantly freezes you.
Mhm.
So I wonder, even though it seems like the dusk field is its own specific thing, I wonder that if you slow with your first shuriken, dodge, would that freeze?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like maybe it's like I said, like a building debuff that ends with you being frozen.
That would be very, very interesting.
But we'll have to get more information.
Yeah. Speaking of more information, all three of these grenade abilities show the potential of stasis to change the way you fight in Beyond Light. Slowing and freezing enemies have obvious advantages, and we've put a lot of effort into thinking about how stasis affects combat in both PvE and PvP situations, including like how often you can freeze a foe and how long those freeze durations last, which we talked about. So they definitely they most likely took into consideration how long and how often.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't say anything about the slowing effect, like if it stacks or not. Hopefully they go into more information about that later, because I really want to know. Because if that's the case, I'm going to play a lot of Hunter in PvP.
Yeah, okay, so hunters are probably gonna be
Nasty boys.
dominant again.
So remember when Mayhem was re-released into Destiny 2?
Oh god.
And everybody was using Tether?
That's the way to do it, man.
I mean,
I also remember the amount of blade barrages.
well,
Oh my god, Blade Barrage is one of my favorite things until they fucking nerfed it. And I listen, I know it was a problem. I'm aware. and
but
I
it was
love
so fun to use. I'm not gonna lie.
It was a problem, and it was my favorite thing in the entire goddamn world. But at the same time, like I feel like I'm mostly harmless because I don't play PvP, so
Yeah, I mean, like, if anything, you would just hop into Mayhem and then use Tether or Blade Barrage a whole bunch. It's like, ha!
yeah, like once in a while when I have to. Basically, the only time I play PvP is when I have to for a story, and even then, sometimes Adam is just like, "I'll do it for you." I'm like, "Okay."
Like, thank you.
I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah. The ability to create new geometry with stasis is also an exciting new addition. With a well-timed glacier grenade, you can now create stasis crystals formations that can perform double duty as platforms. Players are going to use this new power, be it in the form of a grenade or a super, to gain easier access to tough-to-reach areas, create new lines of sight, and even do things we could never predict. So, for those that don't know, we're going to be participating in the world race for Beyond Light. And it makes me think that there's going to be some secret chests inside that raid that we have to use stasis for. Purely because throwing grenades on walls and jumping up there to see if there's anything up there.
Listen, I'm just gonna say this. Bungie, why?
Why?
Like, I'm so excited, but also, why have you done this to yourself?
Right.
Yeah, no, what I'm interested in that particular thing is we might actually be able to find the ceiling for a lot of like maps, both PvE and PvP.
Oh, PvP is about to be stupid.
No, because think about it. For Titans and Warlocks, you guys have that floating ability, so you can just sit up there.
True.
Well, and I mean, they're saying we'll have easier access to tough to reach places, but
Adam,
like,
get closer to the mic.
really like search around and try and find the invisible walls. They're pretty much all over the place. They have it pretty well locked down.
True
Well-
enough. But being able to
Well,
just
true.
sit up there whenever you want
Yeah.
is a huge thing.
You're gonna break your game so much with this. Destiny, you're gonna break your. Like,
Right.
listen, I remember
Check
when
your stuff.
I remember when Angela was playing a lot of World of Warcraft, and I don't play a lot of World of Warcraft, so pardon my not knowledge of things. But she was using some sort of spellcaster that had like an eyesight thing where she could see things far away.
Sure.
And she was just like using it to see through walls and shit. That's the kind of shit you're encouraging with jump up here, make your own walls. I don't know. Destiny.
So
Why have you
good.
done this? But at the same time, like, that's gonna slow things down if they add something like the Whisper of the Worm back in, where it's like, okay, well, now I've gotta have a grenade ready, and if you don't have a grenade ready, it's gonna slow you down. You know what I mean? Like, places you absolutely need one.
Well,
But
I mean,
then the other thing I was thinking of the other day is what happens when you could probably use this to save yourself if you run out of jumps.
that's true.
Especially as a hunter, that's a problem. Like if you run out of jumps, like every once in a while, my space bars, my new keyboard is really sensitive, and sometimes I'll hit it twice on accident and not even
Yeah.
realize it. And I won't have a jump. Well, if I can throw a grenade and literally save my ass before I fall off the edge,
That's great.
I'm fucking for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I use sword a lot in those PvE stuff, because I just need the mobility.
Yeah. And honestly, like, just like how we've seen in the trailer where like they threw the grenade at the wall and then they used it to like get up to like a different area, although they were fighting enemies, but it seems like they're using that to get up to like a different part where the enemies were coming from. So I think it's gonna be a lot of like, oh, in this strike you have to get to the next part, but you have to use a stasis grenade to do it. Or there might be like an alternative way in case you're not using the stasis grenade. But
Which also wouldn't make it that you have to run the stasis subclass. You don't have the option to use the other three.
well,
Yeah,
I
that's why I don't
mean,
know if
like,
they're gonna do that, because I kind
Yeah.
of feel like they're gonna be like, oh, you can do it easier if you do it this way, or you can go the long way.
right. Exactly.
Hmm.
So,
That's a different
yeah, because like what I was thinking was like, it's probably gonna be one of those things where, yeah, it'll be great if you had stasis, you'll be able to get up there easier, but it's definitely possible to do it with the other classes, with the non-stasis subclass, but you're just gonna have a harder time. That's why I think like that's why I think if there's like secret chests, scattered across Europa, like there most likely are, or any other secret or like scannables or specific aspects, or even like secret chests or like crazy stuff in the raid after we're done with the contest, then like I think it'll be easier to get to with stasis, but it's just you're gonna have to do some fun crazy stuff if you're gonna use another subclass, like sword swinging, or like doing the whole thing where in the prophecy dungeon in the first encounter you can actually skip the moat part. You can just jump up on the little ball thing and then use your sword to like swing up into the first like little hole thing in the ceiling. I don't know if you were taught that, Neil, when you did your run.
I'm getting flashbacks to using a wooden bowl in Skyrim.
Right. So yeah, like you're able to like just go up, jump on the platform, and then jump all the way to the first boss. So it's probably something like that where like you have to get creative if you're not using stasis, but if you're using stasis, you're gonna have a much easier time. Type deal.
I honestly think because of the way Destiny does stuff, and maybe this is just me, I think it's going to be more along the lines of we've mapped out a couple pathways that are shortcuts,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the stasis grenade is going to be the shortcut. And the reason I think that is because as much as you could get those places with like you said, like a sword, I think that feels too. They've been really big on like you play this game how you want to play this game.
Right.
You don't ever have to. I don't feel like they ever want you to feel like you have to use a certain subclass. I mean, honestly, how many times have they nerfed things specifically so that people weren't just using the one subclass?
That's true. I mean, they did nerf specifically, like even some exotics for that reason, like Lunafaction boots. How like they completely removed the auto reloading thing.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. So I think it's less like we're going to see that. I think if you're going to see things that require
Yeah.
the ability to jump up with a stasis grenade, it's only going to be stuff specifically for story for stasis. Like if there's actually story missions for stasis or getting the stasis abilities, I think then you'll see it. But otherwise, I don't think they're going to do it like as a tutorial essentially.
Right,
But I
right.
think that they're so big on like, no, we don't want the meta to be, well, every single hunter needs to use the golden gun with the Nighthawk. Do you know what I mean? Like they've been really big on not pigeonholing people on purpose.
Right, yeah. Because, like, if anything, all that comes from, like, optimizing for builds and, like, optimizing for, like, doing a raid or whatever. But, like, the game itself doesn't say, like, oh, you have to use Well of Radiance. You have to use Bubble. Sure, it might be easier,
Yeah.
and you might survive longer. You might be able to do more damage, but it's not like required. That's why they have like melting point if you want to be a bit more aggressive. Like you run in, shoulder charge, you do more damage that way. Or like for the hunter, they have like their own some form of melting point, and then that's also why you have the exotic tractor cannon, where you also have another debuff as well. Like Bungie has this thing where sure there are powerful options to do these things, but like there's not one set thing there. You have multiple of them. Or you could not run them at all and just have fun.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest reason I don't see it being a requirement in most things.
Right.
And maybe if there's like I said, maybe if there's like, oh, a Whisper of the Worm type mission where you have to run through something in a limited amount of time and it's stasis heavy, like it's story based.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time I can see it being a thing.
Right. Yeah, because like a lot of like the end game stuff, like the Whisper mission and like 0 Hour, they're more like, okay, we're gonna test you on your mastery of everything you can do, all your weapons that you have and you know how to use very well, all your subclasses, because you're probably gonna be switching a lot, or you're gonna have one specific that you're gonna run, but you better know that class like the back of your hand, stuff like that. Because like a lot of the things, especially with like the raids, are like, okay, we're testing your mastery on your character. How much of your character do you know? How much of your abilities do you know? How much of your weapons do you know? And we're gonna put that to the test. So that's why I think like a lot of the story and like exploration might be stasis based, but it's not gonna be like, oh, you have to.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be easier if you use this. But if you're a master on, like, let's say for example, Arc Strider or something, you have a really good time on Arc Strider because you know that subclass very well compared to like maybe Golden Gun or something. You know.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's how I think it might be. What do you think, Adam?
As far as the like being forced to be a certain class or something.
Yeah, like kind of like a revolving around that whole thing.
Yeah, like it was like Mercy was saying, like they go out of their way to make sure you don't have to have a certain one equipped. Like you said, it'll make things easier. Like there's the metas and whatnot, but it's hardly ever like a hard requirement. So I mean the platforms for the grenades will be nice, but I don't, maybe for a chest or something, but I'm sure there's going to be some other like floaty warlock jump or something that could also get to it or something with swords.
Yeah, because I mean, like they did mention like, actually this is a good time to like reference other like the other articles. In the warlock article, they talked about how like each guardian class will feature a new stasis subclass with beyond light, blah blah blah, and each class will be able to like use it like in a defensive way or something, or like it'll mess with like movement, like being able to like move a certain way. And they said for hunters, zipping by in the blink of an eye with slowing down opponents in stasis fields. And people are predicting that like hunters might have blink back. And if that's the case, blink is another really great movement option, because blink is really good on warlock, especially in PvP. And if you have a item that like, or if you have an exotic that enhances that blink, then like it makes it even better. So I'm thinking that like if they do bring back blink to hunters, then that could like add some other things as well.
Yeah, I'm really
Yeah.
hoping to get back Blink because I really missed that one.
Yeah. Mercy, have you played around with Blink as a warlock?
I did a little bit as a warlock. I'm very easy to disorient.
It's fair.
So I would get very disoriented very quickly, and I didn't play a lot of Void in general, so it was less that I didn't like it and more that I just didn't
play it.
use it very much.
It's fair.
Yeah. Hunters used to have Blink as part of their arc subclass.
Oh, I
So-
know. I'm dating somebody who talks about it all the time.
Okay, gotcha.
I remember the blink. No, I'm sorry. He wistfully stares out the window and pines for his blink back.
Oh,
But
yes.
yeah, so that thing was like super amazing for Hunter because we already have high mobility. So
Right.
the fact that we're able to do even crazier stuff is just gravy.
Oh,
So what
yeah.
you're telling me is the warlock stole it from you.
The warlocks had it
technically,
first.
we stole it from them.
Yeah, hunters like to steal a lot of things.
So
They're the thieves of
literally
the group.
in in Destiny 1, one of the like flavor texts for something, I can't remember what it was, but it was like, hey, don't tell the warlocks we stole Blink from them.
Yeah.
Yep,
Don't tell them we figured it out from them.
exactly.
Yeah.
They're like, yo, guys, did you guys know that that warlocks have this thing where they can like blink out of existence and then reappear? And they're like, yo, teach us how to do that though. How'd you find out?
Try and learn how to do it.
Right.
I don't know why, but I just had the image of like a bunch of really dumb hunters sitting around like a fire, and one of them's just like squatted down, like focusing as hard as he can.
Yes. And your sparks is
Leaping
dead or
into the
something.
air like a bunch of idiots. You know, like have you ever seen Freakazoid? Like when he forgets he can't fly. That's basically what happens the whole time. 5
Love
minutes,
it.
and then one of them peers down. They're like, "Oh!"
I can totally see that happening.
Blink back and then give me an exotic that makes me invisible at the end of Blink.
No.
Oh my god, that would be terrible.
But
That
that
would
would
be
be
terrible.
So cool.
That'd be cool, but that'd be terrible.
Nah, that'll be the Hunter version.
I'd be sad because warlocks can't get that. We can't go invisible, man.
Oh, buddy, it's okay. We just took what you have and made it better.
I mean, you guys did that to Void. You guys have a cool bow. I'm just like, I want that. Come on now.
Not a ball.
Do you know what? So one of my favorite things to do as a warlock when I did play one was to run around in Crucible with my ult, and as soon as somebody turned a corner, I just drop it at my feet.
Yeah, I mean that's what I basically do
okay.
sometimes. Like I'll just run around and like with my super, I'm just like, okay, I know they're about to come up on me. I see them below. I jump or whatever. I jump up because reactions in that. And I turn around, aim at the ground. I'm just like, ha! And then just Nova bomb at my feet. I don't care if I die. You're dead.
If I die, I'll take
So
you with
good.
me, bitch.
Yes,
Come on and
exactly.
slam.
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
Dunk on them. And then they close out the article saying, wielding stasis is going to be an unprecedented change to Destiny 2. This is a new take on elemental power, where the path to victory is found through controlling the enemy and the pace of the fight instead of through brute force and damage, with aspects and fragments, while also giving players a new level of control over how they customize their stasis experience. For more on stasis, check out the stasis page and all that. So this is the point where we're going to talk about. I know we're actually
We're
closing
running
in
out
on
of
time. Yeah, so we can't talk about the other things, but like we may talk more about stasis. Like the more stuff gets revealed. But once again, I would like to thank you guys for being in this call with me. It means a lot. You guys are great, and I love hearing the different sides from like the different people who main these classes. Even if you like play it a little bit, it's still nice to hear from other people.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and, like if you want to get on call sometime and chat with me about it, just let me know. Give me like a good 30 minutes heads up or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have a regular work schedule, so
Right,
even
I
if I
feel
am
that.
working, I was working pretty much the whole time we were talking. So
Perfect.
if I am working, I can still chat. Like there's no issue with that at all. So
Exactly.
So yeah, final thoughts. Beware the Revenant in the snow, for it will slow you.
beware how nasty we're about to get, and then
Oh,
you know
you're
what's
about
happening?
to be real nasty.
Get dirt nasty, and then they're gonna turn around and be like, that was too much nasty, and then we're gonna be lame, and no one's gonna use subclass anymore because that's what happened with the other one.
True.
We're always nerfed. Always.
And still manage to
Always
still be
something
strong
else.
afterwards. What the heck?
Exactly.
Why don't they just make everybody as cool as we are? That's because they couldn't, because we're too cool.
Gotta raise the standard. We're bringing it up too high. Everyone's gotta get on our level.
Get on our level, bitches.
Too
Except we don't.
good.
Yeah.
'Cause then we wouldn't feel as cool.
Right? But yeah, those are our closing thoughts. My final thoughts for this is this definitely makes me want to like play more Hunter. I don't know. I'll definitely be testing out all 3 classes since I have all 3 like characters. But I'm probably still gonna be maining Warlock, especially for like the world's first race. But I'm definitely gonna be messing around with Hunter a lot because it seems really cool.
Jenna,
yeah.
come to the hobo side.
We need
Yes.
some.
Come to the space hobo side.
Actually, one of my biggest thing is I'm thinking that with the stasis stuff. I'm sorry, I know that we're trying to close.
No,
I
you're
think that
good.
with the stasis stuff, we're gonna see a lot more. Like I know we don't have a lot of people that play Titan very often in our group.
Yeah.
We have a handful, but not very many.
Right.
I really want to run around with a Titan, a Warlock, and a Hunter with this new stasis.
I would
think
love
it's gonna
that.
be. I almost feel like they sort of complement each other with what their strengths are.
Oh, 100%. 100% they do, because like they showed it in the trailer how like the warlock froze with his staff and then the titan went
Exactly.
crashed
So,
into it.
Like I said, I have a little group that we run around with regularly. Is the 3 of us are 2
Yeah.
hunters and a warlock.
Yeah.
So we don't usually get titans around at all.
Right.
But it's very interesting to see how they're doing this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited. And with that being said, thank you all so much for being here, chat, and my lovely guests. You guys are great, and continue to like make this streaming even more worth it day by day. I love you all very much, and we will see you guys on Saturday together as a group. We will be going after Spire of Stars once again, hopefully being able to beat it, since we have a lot more understanding of like the rest of the raid. And we just need to beat the boss, and then that triumph will be done, and then we'll be going after Crown of Sorrow probably in another weekend or 2. All right.
Yeah.
Love you all very much. If you scroll down on my page, you can see all my links, including the code for both websites, Aeroxa Industries and TriumphShares.com. Once again, thank you for those sponsors. The code is OTEN for 10% off anything in those stores. Got my YouTube channel there, my Twitter, and all that. So if you click on my name and click on schedule, you will see all my schedules and everything, and all the times and all that, and the games that I play and everything like that. So please come by and support us. Thank you very much. Love you all very much, and we will be seeing you guys on Saturday. All right.
Yep.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.